and welcome to all our hearts and minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning, and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, keeping our passion at heart.
Yeah.
And then there's me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay, everybody, thank you again for tuning in. We're back with a new episode. We decided to do a
Mm-hmm.
special one. We never did an anniversary episode, but
Right?
it is our third year in this podcast, so we decided to celebrate it. Our hundred and I believe it is our 145th episode, so just before the
Yes.
150th. So we decided to do something different for this episode, which
Right?
we'll be doing kind of like an Ask Me Anything, or as Reddit calls it, an AMA hashtag AMA. So we're
Right?
going to go through some questions where you get to know us, the podcast, our backgrounds, where we live, and kind of certain things like that. Again, you're getting to know a little bit more about your host instead of talking
Right.
about celebrities all the time. You're going to learn a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more about Kimmy and Jeanette.
Yes.
Okay, but before we do that, we have to still check in. That is the essence. We're going to talk more about the podcast, but that is
Mm-hmm.
essence. The first thing we have to do is do a little checkup on each other. So, how was your week, my friend?
Well, this week was okay, but like my coworker was pulling stunts, and it's like,
Damn! Don't you hate a coworker pulling stunts?
sure do. And I'm I was the only one to, benefit from that, I guess, because my other coworker, there's a very small staff of three of us, and
Okay,
so,
okay.
you know, yeah, and so I got the better end of it because the other one is off on vacation. So the one that was pulling stunts. So anyhow, it was a stunt filled week. I
Week.
can tell you
Okay, that's
that.
a good summary. That's a good summary.
I can tell you that much.
The
But
stunts
overall,
were flying left,
just
right, and
all
center.
over the place. Like you had darting bullets. It's a whoop, whoop, whoa. No, not today, girl. Not today. But you know what? It was a good week all over. Like in terms of outside of work, like it was a pretty good
Of
week.
course, yeah.
Yeah. Just got to relax a little bit because my daughter stayed with my parents, and so
Okay, that's good.
yeah, like kick back on routine a little bit. I
Yeah,
still
get a
was
little
going to
breather.
work and doing whatever because
Mhm.
people were at their stunts. But, overall it was all right. But how about you, girl? What's going on?
It was pretty good. It's so funny. I'm just laughing at the stunt thing, but
It's
you got it.
your
It's good. It's
stunts.
good when you can catch the stunt play.
Yeah, it
When
was
you
the
can catch
whole
the
week,
play,
B. And when you have a short week, it's already enough, B.
yeah.
Like it's already
Oh,
enough.
that's a good. That's a good segue actually for me. Yeah. So, like you said, we just came back from a long weekend. It was a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian long weekend here, and was it this week or did we go to work on
Well, it
Monday?
was last weekend, but this is like the aftermath. So this is a shorter week. So it was
Yeah,
on
I just feel
Monday.
like everything, so that's, yeah. So all of that stuff that piled on coming back from the long weekend last week continued into this week. Let's put it this
Mm,
way. But that's work. Work is work. It's always going to
you
be
know
like
what I
that. The
mean?
only thing I wanted to bring up that section of my life was because it's taking me back to Windsor. And
Mm,
again, we're going, when we talk about or do our Ask Me Anything, you'll know why Windsor is a very central part of our lives. But
yes.
so I'll be going to Windsor next week. I'll let you guys know how it is since it's
Yes.
that's where we went to university. So
Windsor. Y'all go Windsor.
Windsor,
Yeah.
Ontario to be exact. And then
Exactly.
but generally for myself, I feel like I had personally I had a really good week. Enjoyed the summer,
Mm-hmm.
went out, met with some friends. I did both of my yoga Pilates classes. This week I kind of fell off with doing my Wednesday class for I would say the past month, just because work has been work. Haven't been able to get back in time to um s- from work to make my class in the evening. So
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
happy to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
parents are good, family's good, can't complain. So I'll say I'm in very good spirits.
Nice, nice. That's always good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so sounds like we're doing good. I think that is
Getting through
amazing.
it.
Stunts and
Mm-hmm.
all, we're doing
You
all
know what
right.
I mean? Just stunting out the place, bro. It's like, what's
um
wrong with you?
so
Like, just
so
calm down. Calm
typically
down.
okay, so before we get into the episode, first we just want to always acknowledge our listeners and appreciate them
Yes.
and thank them for tuning in with us every week, or at least every episode.
Right? 3 years in,
3 years in.
145.
So
Okay.
so shout out to you all. And we just this is a portion of the podcast where we always appeal to our listeners to show us some love. So if you want to review us, rate us, or follow us, please do that on
Yes,
all
please.
streaming platforms, and particularly Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. So thanks
Right?
again for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks, y'all.
Okay, so like I said, I gave you guys a little preview earlier. We will be doing something a little different
Just a
today,
little bit different.
just a little bit. And what that is like I said, we want to address some questions, some common
Right?
questions. So we're going to do that in this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You get to know a little bit more about your hosts, the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, and what motivates us in the podcast going forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna start with a good a good what do you call it? Icebreaker slash opener.
Right?
And so what that is why are we called hearts and minds, or said differently, why specifically is Kim the heart and me the mind?
Mm-hmm.
And so I can get us started here,
Okay. Okay.
and then we can kind of each speak to. So when we thought of the podcast, obviously we wanted a theme to encompass that we would be talking on a broad array of topics. So
Mm-hmm.
not specifically on one subject, but an aspect of a subject. And so we
Mm-hmm.
called it, obviously that's kind of where we got the title of the podcast, Hearts and Minds, and we just tacked on the Northern Views with all transparency. There was other podcasts called Hearts and Minds,
Right? You had to
so
put
we
it
needed to
in.
make it distinct. We need to be able to know which one's ours. So
Right?
we added the Northern Views because of our location. We're in North America. We're in Canada, which
Mm-hmm.
is a northern side of North America.
Right?
So that's where we got Northern Views, and it was also a homage to one of our big Canadian hip hop songs or groups. It's called Northern Touch, I believe. And
Mm.
I believe
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Bacardi, and there was a
Yeah.
bunch of other Canadian
Yeah.
rappers. So
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like a whole bunch of things wrapped into
Yep.
that.
Yep. And it was a
While
double
also,
entendre with the views part because
yes,
it's
because
also
Toronto,
our views. Like our views
our
on
views, and at the
things as well
time,
as the
yeah, go
northern
ahead.
view. It's
That
beautiful up here.
and a little bit more. Kim might not know this, but also at around that time, or not too long, not around that time, long ago, but one of Drake's epic albums is called Views, and
Mm-hmm.
so that
Yep.
was
I
also.
remember. Yep. Before he fell
So
off. Yeah, I remember. Yep. Mm-hmm.
oh god. So anyway, side note, he's having a very successful European tour, which I'm happy to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the topic at hand. So yes, Hearts and Minds, Northern Views, and then back to, so basically we kind of felt it also outside of the title that covered the kind of topics that we would be
Mm-hmm.
kind of the broad topic
Mm-hmm.
variety was to kind of personalize your hope, me and Kim.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to
Definitely.
so you have a personality. Each of us, we're very close. We're good friends, but
Yes.
we're also very different people.
Yes.
And so that's like that. This conversations that you hear here is kind of that. So anyway, long story short. So Jeanette, um, I'll start with myself.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll just go with me. It's why I'm the mind is because I think people could probably tell it's very obvious. I'm gonna look at everything's at like all
Mm-hmm.
angles. I'm gonna
Yep.
over like for the most part, I'm gonna try my best. Like if I have time and
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this situation, I would like to like assess and think before I say
Very level-headed people. She's
or
very
say
level-headed.
say
You
or do
know,
anything.
and
And
wise beyond her years. Like, trust me, she's humbled me a couple times. I was like, whoa, girl. It's true what you're
But
saying,
that's just,
though.
those are the
It's
times.
true.
Those are the times where I don't think too hard, and it's just a reaction. But that's very
No, but
rare.
it's because of that is your personality, that you are level headed and you are knowledgeable and you'll bring to light the facts. Like, hello, did we forget? My
So,
Jeanette told me to reevaluate my life.
again, did I
And
say
at
it
that
exactly?
time,
Did I
she
say
was
it?
right.
Did I say?
She was right, Bridget. She was right.
Oh my
It was a
gosh,
long time
a
ago, okay?
long time ago.
But this young lady came to me and said, "You need to reevaluate your life. Then you need to just."
What I can't believe I said that. Like,
But
who says it?
it was what I needed to hear,
I was
and it
literally
was
like 22 years old.
yeah.
Like, why
This
the
is
hell
what
was I?
I'm telling you. This is what I'm saying.
Why would I
I'll
say
never
that? That
forget
sounds
it in my life.
crazy.
Never in my life I will ever forget it. And every now and then I have that voice and I have that memory, and it makes me laugh. It does, but it was true. And I wasn't being level headed and I wasn't being very smart at the time. And I was told, I was humbled, real with the facts. Give me the facts. She came with the facts, people. I love it. I
Oh,
love it. Like, the yin and the yang here. It's
yeah,
the
like
yin
you
and the
said.
yang.
So that's very, I'm very like, like try to
Sorry, I
take a
had
mo.
to interject because
No,
that's
that's
what
funny. That's a
comes
good
to my
story.
mind when I think of you being, the mind of the show.
Yes,
Like that's what I'm like.
e- exactly. So try,
Yeah.
and try not to hurt people's feelings, but be
It
fair
was it
and
was
all.
said perfectly. It was constructive criticism. It was lightly given, but it made total sense at the time. And I was like, "What? Okay.
And then so
She's
then
right."
we could, and so if we talk about the mind and being balanced and everything
Mhm.
else and looking at all sides of things, then we get to the heart. And the heart always plays a very important role. Everybody wants to value analytics, quantifying, but sometimes some things just need to be actioned, need to be said, need to be, and I would say my friendship with Kim, she's always been that, whether you like it or not. And so
And
I'll
you
let
know
her
what?
talk,
It's
yeah, a little
sometimes
bit more
it's
of
at
that.
my disadvantage. Like it's a
Yeah, that's the
disadvantage.
thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
But yeah, but thanks for the segue. But you know what? I'm telling you, it's because I've just grown up knowing that I just speak my mind. I speak
Yeah.
my mind. And there was a time, as you're growing up and you're becoming an adult and you're learning yourself, that I would try to muffle that. And every now and then it would slip out, right?
Mhm,
Because that's
mhm,
truly who I am. Sometimes I lose friends because of it. Sometimes, relationships end because I am that honest and I am that real with what I'm telling you. It's really that's what I'm thinking. You
mhm.
don't ever have to wonder, is that what
Yep.
she's thinking?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah.
And but I think the balance because sometimes, as a passionate person, you tend to like be very narrow minded with how you view it and you stay true to how you feel. And
Mm.
so you do need that objective opinion, that will say, oh, wait, hold on now. But hold on now. We need to just reevaluate what's going
Mhm.
on here because, and I am, a Taurus and an Aries, which is a ram and a bull. So I am very, at times stubborn and
Stubborn.
what I am is what I am. And if you don't like it, oh well,
There
keep
you
it
go.
pushing. And so, but me and Jeanette have been able to vibe so well, and so that's why we decided to. I am very to the heart about things. I'm very sometimes too real. I think sometimes I say things and I'm like, girl, you really said that out loud, like, but it was in my mind, and I think I've been kind of constructed over life to feel like I can't or that I
Mm.
have to reserve it. But here on this podcast, I don't gotta do
No, that's the point. Yeah, it's here to express our views, our
right?
opinions. Yes, exactly.
Yes, and I am. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I thought when we decided to put this podcast together, I thought that name fit us perfectly because I think that I am at times more passionate, and I think you are a very thoughtful mind, and so I think. even right down to our symbol, it's very connected. And
Mhm.
so the heart and the mind do think together. I think at times, sometimes they'll disagree, but most of the time they do
Most of the
agree.
time that works together. Yeah,
Yeah, they
exactly.
work together, right? Exactly. So beautiful times, beautiful
Yeah.
times.
So okay, so we had an anecdote on we had an anecdote on the my side. So I was trying to think as you were speaking, um like an anecdote to highlight or story to highlight your when your heart or your passion has created an interesting situation. So I was trying to think of a time when I've seen that. But I want to give a good example because there's always that can manifest in, as you said, Kimmy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that can manifest in a amazing, positive, always
yeah,
good experience. But like you said, sometimes it can get you in trouble,
yeah.
and I'm
And
not
it
gonna.
has. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to share that, but I would just say more on the good side. The thing with Kim that sometimes people, I would say, not necessarily with me because I kind of knew her a little bit, but with other people, is that if she sees you, if she back in the day, I don't know if as an adult, as as a woman now in 2025, you're like this, but you would just be like being like, if you're out, if you see something, you'll just be like, What's going on here? Is everything okay?" Is like, are you like, she'll talk to anybody. I think I would say like it manifests in a lot of ways, but I think that's that automatic response. That's that passion. That's that heart. You'll see something going on, you're going to open your mouth.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that you're not going to overthink it. You're not going to be like, "Oh, should
No,
I? Should I?" You're just going to be like, "Okay, what's happening?" Whether
yeah.
it's a fun thing, interesting, sad,
Mm-hmm.
drama, whatever, you're going to be like, "Okay, okay, what? Okay, what's happening here?"
Right?
And she will ask you to your face, "Excuse me, what's happening here?" And she's not going to
Sir,
look at her. She's going
what's
to
going on
ask.
here?
She's not going to no long talking. I'm not guessing. I'm not observing. Can somebody tell me what's happening here?
Please. I'm
And
just saying.
so that's one, and I've seen so many examples, so I can't say exactly one, but yeah, that is another way that you're somebody that I think has their heart on their sleeve. Before, I think
I
you're a little
do.
bit more guarded,
I
you're
am
open.
now.
We're
Yeah.
but I think in general that is your default.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's just a little story there on that. So this kind of segues into the second question on
Yeah.
get to know us. So how did we meet? And I guess in us meeting and being
Mm-hmm.
friends, how did the podcast get started?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess I don't know what you would say. Like we went to the same high school,
Yeah.
but we were in different grades and different friend groups.
Yeah. But it
Different
was
friend. I
more
would say more.
informal. It was
It's more
informal.
informal, yeah. So
Yeah.
we knew of each other, but we didn't know each other. We didn't really know each other in high school. We knew
No,
of each
no.
other.
I
Yeah,
think we
exactly.
knew of each other through a
Yes.
common factor.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Well,
Who's
that.
now has PhD.
Yes, 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 yes. But I just think in high school, you know people. Like again,
Yeah,
Kim
that's
was.
true.
You were.
Everybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and you
true.
were. Don't forget, you were in a clique. You were in a clique. You were clicked up.
Yeah, you know.
Yes, Kimmy was. Yeah, she's one of those. Again, it's okay. So I knew of her.
Don't do it, girl.
It's okay. High school doesn't
No,
count.
but it was high school. No, and she's right.
So we knew each other, but we did get to know each other really
Hmm.
in university when we went to
Definitely.
university in Windsor, Ontario,
There we go with the Windsor.
which is a border city, which is to give context, it's a border city for people who don't know, to Detroit, Michigan.
That's
So
right.
we often went there. We have a lot of experience of the culture and the people there because it
Yeah,
was a border city.
yeah. Hmm.
And I
Very
think
much, I would say, culture-wise, it's very much Detroit-ish, Michigan-ish. It's
yes,
not. I
Michigan.
wouldn't even
Yeah.
say Canadian. I like. Yeah, I know, but I felt
Yes
like
and
the
no.
heartbeat of that place was the
The
states.
fact that it was
Yeah,
a border town
yeah,
made
hmm,
it very distinct.
yeah.
Um so yeah, so we I don't remember. Yeah, so yes, my roommate at the time, who also went to the same high school, kind of came about her on the campus, and she's like, "Oh, do you know Kim's here and she's friends with so and so and I seen her." So then we started to see each other more at the parties.
Right?
We
Mhm.
did have our different friend group, but like as we
Yes,
saw
I
each
did.
other, we would see each other at parties, talk, dance, catch up and see each other on campus. So eventually we became friends, like real
Yeah, we
friends.
started having some similar classes, like
Some class, oh,
statistics.
statistics. Yeah, that's when we really bonded. And we were already friends because we were going.
Yeah,
I
but
started
that
hanging
was
out.
the
You know what I do? You know what I do now? Actually, now I know when it was. It was one of the times. I think it was my second or third year there. I think my third year.
Mhm.
Yes, it was one of the summers. So it was one summer before we did statistics. It was 2 summers, I think, intermission intercessions that we hung out because my roommates were pretty much gone except one, but she was doing
Mhm.
her course was crazy, so I barely saw her. So me and you hung out a lot when it was
Yeah.
not in the summer sessions and
Yes, that's
the
yes.
spring sessions. So
Yeah.
that's how I think we got to start because then like some of your friends started to do their own thing or they left
Yeah.
or stuff. So
I've kind of always been a lone ranger out here, like
no, but
really and truly.
you had your crew, but I mean, I think
Yeah,
you had two
yeah,
different crews when you were at Windsor, right? Yeah,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit, like
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You're right. And I did have two different crews. Like I knew someone that was maybe 2 years older than me, and
yes,
I
yes,
met
that's who I'm
her
thinking. Yeah,
down there in Windsor, but she is from Toronto. And yeah, so there was that friend group, and then there was like my friend group on campus, and
yeah.
then you and I started to mix the two. It wasn't just at,
Yes, yeah. You should friend groups. We just
right?
yeah, it somehow mingled. So that's how we became friends. So we just eventually started hanging around the same groups. Then then it was just us because
Yeah,
we
we
stayed for
had
summer.
classes together and started studying more,
Yeah.
and which was necessary, especially when we were doing statistics. I remember at one point we had like three exams like back to back. Like
Oh yeah, because I did two. Yeah, usually when I did those spring sessions, I did at least two
I was
courses.
like, these people are crazy.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
so that's how we got to know each other. I think why we something me and her. I think a lot like our culture kind of like
Yes.
we
Yeah.
have a lot in common with our culture because we're both Jamaican. We both have Jamaican parents or Jamaican
Mothers
mom,
to be
mothers to
precise.
be exact, right? So we
Mhm.
have a lot of
Mhm.
that in common. We like the same foods. We came from the same area. We
Know the
like the same
same a lot of the same people.
same
Mhm.
people. So it just made sense.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was gonna happen regardless. But
Yeah.
and so yeah, and then
We just
anything.
always kept up with each other, like even after
Yes, and
school
then when you
ended
went to
and
Scarborough,
stuff.
yeah, I forgot. Even when we went to Scarborough, because yes, we did. Yes, we had some things in common. Yes, as a couple of times, even when we were back in Scarborough, we
Yeah.
meet up a couple of times. So yeah, we kept in touch. It's hard. That's a good note, and it's something that I'm always striving to be better at as an adult with
Me
friendships.
too. Me too.
Is you have to try and keep you have to work hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. You have to
I
work
know.
hard
I
to
know
keep
because it's
in
like
touch.
no new friends. I'm
Yeah,
singing it.
no
No
new
new
friends.
friends. Okay. Yes. Yes,
um,
Coil Ray. Yes. No, because you know what? I feel like it's harder as an adult to make
it
friends,
is. It
right?
is. It
And
is. Your
it's
guard is
like,
more up. Yeah.
right? It is more up. And I think that the people that you've kind of grew up with, they kind of, like you and I, we keep in touch and life
Yeah.
goes on and so on and so forth. But at this age, just find some random person like
No, no, no.
I'm
Yeah, you have to have
not.
some commonalities and stuff like that.
Even
Yeah, yeah.
then, it's like
That's not. Yeah, true.
I
That's not
need a
enough.
I need like a reference.
You no, I feel you. I feel you. But it's something as an adult you have to work hard at. So if you have still if have adult friends around and they bring value to you and you appreciate the energy, then yeah,
Definitely.
you have to do that. And I will say I'm not so good, but Kim, she's on the ball. I'm not great at it,
No,
but
and but you know what? That's the thing is
I
that
learned a lot from you about it too with other people.
but
Like
you
you
keep in touch with people, right? You will when you do. But
yes,
me,
when I
like I just went MIA for a lot of people that we know. Like a lot of people you might need to talk to them often
mm,
either
mm,
now, but I'm
mhm.
saying those all those people, like, kind of, it wasn't intentional. It was,
No,
I
it's
was
just
trying to
life.
find my journey. Like, I'm trying to get on the road with this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did the degree thing, I did all of that. Like, let's get on with it already.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Totally.
was trying to find my bearing back in Toronto. And
Yeah.
so
It's tough.
I just didn't want to continue that life where we were in Windsor, where it was party, party, like back to back from Thursday all the way back to Monday. You're in some sort of a party or a bar or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want to continue that because I need to stay focused on where it
Mm-hmm.
is I'm going. Right. And I did. And I'm glad that I did, because now I can say I've had a pretty decent career,
Mm.
for the last almost 20 years. So, like, I just realized that the other day, like, I'm approaching 18 years doing what I'm doing now. And
Yeah.
so it's like, if I didn't focus and I brought Windsor back to Toronto, which can't vibe, because
It can't
Windsor
work.
is a different place. That's a
Yeah.
whole different something.
Financially, it wouldn't vibe. Let me tell you that.
Okay. And if
That
I'm just
alone.
living to party, it just didn't make no sense. And at the time, the friend group that I had, that seemed to be what was popping. And I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to, like, work to party. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I want a future. I want to have things. And I came back to my parents' house from being by myself. You know what I mean? Four
Yeah.
hours away from them by myself. And now I have to come back and be under their roof. And if anybody out there who's been raised by West Indian parents, to be precise, a Jamaican and a Grenadian, you'll know that you need to find your way out of the people them house quickly. Okay, get your bearings.
Yeah.
Get your bearings quickly. Okay. And so at that time too, after we came back, you were kind of on that same, journey of like, okay, what's popping? I need to get out of these people's house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, we did bond over that. Yeah, we
Right?
definitely bonded over like, okay, get our first jobs,
Right? Get it
stabilize.
under wraps, yeah.
But but young people now, if I as a millennial got a rude awakening on the
Right?
reality of moving out of your parents and starting life on your
What?
own, I wouldn't be so boasty.
What?
So now Gen Z, they're a little bit more self aware, and they're kind of like, yeah, no, I'm not going
They
anywhere.
don't have
Well,
no choice. Back in the day, we could still get something. We could still do something. We could make
Mhm.
something shake. Now, shake. Nah, fam, it's too expensive for these young people to live, and the jobs just aren't there. And a
Mhm.
lot of them have the attitude that they
It's
just
not just the
walk in the
jobs.
door and they're going to be a supervisor or
Exactly. I
something.
was going to say it's not necessarily the job market. Yes, the job market is always competitive and hard, but it's
In the
also the
work, so
mentality, and it's also the mentality, right?
right?
So, like you said, so yeah, so that's how we met, and
Mhm.
so fast forward. Life is happening, and we decide to do a podcast, and
Yes,
like
because,
I think,
well, the reason why, and I wanted to mention this, because
yeah,
whenever me and Jeanette would check in with each other,
yeah.
or,
So we're talking
or
about checking
catch
in,
up
yeah.
with each other, you see, that's why at the beginning of this podcast we have a check in,
Yeah, exactly.
because we often would do that. And when we
Mhm.
would do that, we would check in with each other about life, and then we'd start talking about, current events, or like the
Yeah,
future plans that we'd like to achieve, or like life, or pop culture, all sorts of
yeah,
things.
yeah. It kind of got all
Get
mixed
on the
in.
phone for our 3 hours and talk
Yeah,
about everything. You
that's true.
understand? And we just said, wait, hold on. Huh. Maybe we should think about
Yeah,
starting a podcast.
since everybody has a mic, let's get. Why not we get on the mic?
I'm just saying. Okay, let me get up on my little soapbox, okay, people, and have my little say in a life. Thank you. And so, yeah, and so we decided, why not? I mean, we already do that.
Yeah, we were dying laugh, like it was like literally pure laughter,
Hilarious.
pure
Hilarious.
jokes.
Especially when we
Um,
started to talk about hip hop. Oh
oh,
boy.
the
Mm-hmm.
bait. Yeah, yeah. So basically, we're like, okay, this is just like we're debating and get it into this heated
Right?
discussion about all these things happening in the culture.
Right?
Everybody else is, they probably want to hear, they want
I'm
to
just
like probably
saying.
engage in the conversation. So
I'm just
I
saying.
decided we decided to do a podcast. I said like I had some audio editing experience, um and even if I didn't, I would try and figure it out. I don't
There's
but
that mind.
so I didn't
Because
have
me,
that
I
like,
feel like Jeanette, I can't even try to
she's like
begin.
she was like, Jeanette, so this is Kim's response when I pitched it to her.
Please tell them, Jeanette.
So she's like, what? She was like, well, I think yeah, you're probably right. I think we could. It's something we could do. I get what you're saying. So basically getting like, yeah, the discussions we have are rich and
Yeah.
entertaining and stuff. But she's like, but like, I think, but I mean, all I could do, and she was honest. All I could do is I will come and think of ideas with you and talk and get on the mic. But that's all I can do. And she measured, she levered that leveraged that expectation up at the upfront. She's like, I think I would like to do it, but here is my like my two things, which was doable.
Yeah.
And I think it was just more like making sure to keep some things personal, right?
Right?
Some, certain things, like we're not going to, this isn't going to be
Yeah, we
a
can put
bars hold
everything.
everything.
Sorry.
But I think as we've gotten better at that. I think we've gotten more
Yeah.
and more comfortable. There's not,
Right.
nobody's trying to like assassinate us or anything, but
No.
obviously always good when in the age of the internet to protect
Yep.
some things, right? So that was totally normal. And saying, and the tech stuff, which was fine with me because I
Mhm.
had experience and I'm fine with
Mhm.
figuring it out. So yeah, that's kind of like how it got started. And in the obviously it was during COVID.
Right?
We were still locked down, so we were also really, I know I was very hungry for to think something
Yeah.
to keep my mind
Yeah.
occupied, and
Yeah.
to give me a little bit of focus and productivity outside of
Yeah.
work, because at the time, the job that I had at the time, I was like bored out of my mind. I was like, get me out of here. So this
Right?
was something a little bit creative that I could work on with my friend, a good friend,
Mhm.
and
A
have
good
fun
friend.
and create content. So yeah,
Right?
that was how it came to be.
Exactly. And now we're here 3 years later.
Mhm.
And, like, it's been awesome. It's been an outlet for both of us. It's
Yeah.
been a chance for us to not only stay connected, but to, maybe, I don't know, enlighten somebody out
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
even if it's just with the conversation and the humor behind it, you know, um, whatever it is, to inspire somebody would be nice. Just one person.
It
It
would
doesn't,
be,
I
but
don't need a whole flock. I don't need a whole this or that. I don't need none of that. All I need is just one person to hear what we're saying and maybe to just look at it a different way.
yeah.
Not to, you don't have to side with me, but to just look at it a different way.
Yeah, and that's why one of the things I like about podcasts, even
Yeah.
though like, I'm really into audio content, and I think I was, I've been into content podcasts for a while. I think one of the things that I like, even though you were talking about me being the mind and being a little
Hmm.
bit nerdy, I think that I don't even
You're
like
not
those.
nerdy.
Not nerdy. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sure
Yeah,
I
please,
could be nerdy.
sometimes.
You could
That's
sometimes, but
fine.
generally, no. Nobody would guess that I'm a nerd. That's what I. So, but what I was trying to say is that yes, what I would say, there's so many subjects. There's hip hop podcasts. There's
All
like
sorts.
there's core, you can learn about science, yoga, mental health,
Right?
therapy, everything, sports, whatever the hell you're interested in.
Yep.
There's a
It's true.
podcast.
It's true.
100%, I could say that, right?
It's true.
But I would say
Mhm.
what I really love about my favorite ones that I keep going to every week, and
Mhm.
I make sure I want to hear every week, are the ones where there's people having a discussion. Not too much people, because sometimes it gets chaotic, but if you can hear a rich conversation and
Right?
a sharing of ideas, because I always feel like a fly on the wall. And it
Right?
keeps me, it's like I like, oh, I'm getting this in this getting into this like conversation that's interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that's an
Right?
interesting angle. I would never think of that. Or
Exactly.
that's funny. Or sometimes you get to learn the personalities, and you'd be like,
Exactly.
damn
Right?
Ray, you're always
Right?
on
Oh,
Charles, like,
yeah,
the
exactly.
dynamics as well. So that's
Exactly.
actually what I love, and I think we have a lot of that. And
I
so
agree.
yeah.
And you know what? It does highlight the perspective that we have, which, like we were saying before, we're Caribbean Canadians. And
Yeah.
so, that in itself, is a dynamic. And so just coming out here as we are and maybe appealing to somebody who doesn't know anything about the Caribbean Canadian views,
Hmm.
or how we process things as Black women, you know, in the corporate world, in the world in general, in how we see pop culture, how we see our community as a Black woman. And so I feel like it's a really good dynamic that we have and we're presenting to everybody. We do hope that everybody out there, and I'm going to say it because we're 3 years in this, and Jeanette said it earlier, but thank you for listening, for whoever is.
Hmm.
Whoever is listening to this, we do thank you. We do thank you for giving us an outlet to express ourselves as Caribbean Canadian Black women. It's brilliant. I
And
love
we
it.
hope you're getting something out of it and it's
Yes,
enriching your
definitely.
lives. If you can't have these conversations in your friend groups or at work, you're having it with us.
Hey, holla. Oh,
So yeah, so that's how I got started. So okay, we touched on this. So where do we live? Podcasts are global. We kind of
hmm.
already, we spoiler alert, already kind of
Right?
talked on it, but I think more like how it contributes to maybe some of our opinions. So, of course, we are West Indian background.
hmm.
My dad is Ghanaian from Ghana.
hmm.
But are from Toronto, more specifically a suburb of Toronto on the east side, which is
Right?
Scarborough.
Right?
Those who know.
Right?
But and we have a
Yeah.
unique perspective because Toronto is a what we'd call, and I know it's trying times for the immigrant community, but
I'm
in the
telling you.
US, but for some of our listeners, but again, that's what we're here for. We're
Yep.
sharing with you.
Yep.
We Toronto is very diverse. I actually have
Very.
a family member who's visiting from England,
Okay.
and they were saying, she's been around Toronto a little bit, mostly downtown,
Mhm.
and maybe a little bit in the,
Mhm.
some Scarborough areas. But she's like, there's a lot of different cultures. I don't see a lot of white people here. I'm like, are you sure? Like, for me, that was crazy for her to say. But I'm
Right?
like, she was only here like 4 days, so maybe she, you know what I mean? You just haven't been in the areas. But in general, I think it's more, I wouldn't say it's one color or the other, or
Right.
race or of the other, or whatever ethnicity, but I think it's more like the city is diverse. You're not going to
It
go one
is.
place and just see one type of
No, you're
race or
gonna see
cult.
a
Yeah.
whole lot of people, but maybe in comparison to England,
I think maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah,
maybe that
probably.
the
And she's
yeah,
specifically from London, so but again,
exactly, and
to me,
so,
London is really diverse. So I was surprised that
but maybe
she
not
said,
as diverse because you
mm,
could go into a room and you might get a handful of everybody.
yes, here for sure.
Yeah, a handful of all different types of places. And that's the thing, is that there are countries that, yes, we have a lot of population, but there are some countries that you wouldn't know
Hmm.
that they're from. And so you can't really assume, but if just on a like coming here for the first time and looking around,
Yes.
yeah, I could
Yeah.
see why she would think that. I can
I
see
could
that.
see that observation not be,
Yeah.
so I thought that was fair. But that, and I say all of that's about that comment in our city to say that we are around a lot
Yeah.
of people, even though
This is
we have
true.
our background that we grew up with, and
Yep.
we're exposed to so many other cultures.
Right?
And I think that makes us, as Torontonians in general, I won't say Canadians because Canada, diverse, but I don't know what's going on in the rest of Canada. I just know about my city,
Toronto for sure is
Toronto for
one of the
sure.
most diverse places
And
in
so
Canada.
the meaning makes you more open to things, more open to
Yeah,
different foods, more open to different cultures, more open to different ways of people communicating. Because sometimes
definitely.
I could, certain cultures you go and the way they acknowledge you or talk to you, you'd be a little bit offended or not
Right,
acknowledge you.
right,
Because in Caribbean culture, when you see somebody, you greet them, especially if they're older.
right. Mm-hmm.
But not everybody will do that. And
No,
normally, and you might, if you're in a homogeneous type of society where there's only one or two different kind of people,
right.
you would. be like, hey, a minute, that's not following code. But here it's like we know everybody's code is different. So we're not
Yeah.
I personally am not gonna get too much of my feelings
No.
when certain things happen because I have made it I've learned through living in a city and by asking or being exposed, okay, certain people don't do that because this religion, culture, where they come from. So yeah, just being more open and accepting of things and having a
I
broader
think it's all
perspective.
about personal space though. Like that's the only time that I might be a little irritated, and I'm gonna
Yes,
keep
I
it
know.
real.
Yeah, I know. You don't even know.
Um,
I know where you're going with this, but
yeah, you get too up into my damn space, and then on top of that, you stink. Nah, fam.
well,
I
there's
have to say
we have to
something.
be everybody needs to be
Or
reasonable
I
here.
have to readjust my body, or I have to like move around, or say excuse me and pass them or something because there are that's a cultural thing that I think some cultures have, and I just haven't gotten used to. You know what I mean? Like in the West Indies, kind of people, they don't really they're not up underneath each other. Do you know what I mean? And they give you your personal space. That's what I feel. But anyhow, I just noticed that, yeah, that's the only problem I have out here in terms of the multiculturalism, because some cultures don't understand personal space. And yeah, you just have to let them know. That's that hard. Just have to let them know, sir. Can you like you're all here. You're you're all in here. Okay, you need to
Yeah,
back up.
but like
But,
obviously, I mean within reason. But
no, of
again,
course.
just
No,
saying
I'm
that
just
we're
saying, like in general, I think that's what's my
that's
one
your
issue
board.
with multiculturalism here.
That's your
It-
boundary.
well, that's hard for me because I feel
Hmm.
like some cultures understand personal boundaries and some
Hmm.
don't,
Hmm.
and it's not something that's cultural to them. But that's something that's sensitive to me. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean? And
Yeah.
everybody else might not care, but
Yeah.
don't push up on me. That's,
Yeah.
that's like,
So
I'm
yeah.
joking, but I'm just saying, like, that's one thing that I find when living in a multicultural place
Mhm.
that could be difficult to deal with, depending on the person, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And I would
Anywho,
say, and so more to about where we're from.
yeah,
If you got questions about our city, so I told you it's diverse.
very,
And even thinking of the world as a whole, like what our city is stands for, what our city is afraid
yeah,
of, what is important to us, what is exciting. Like, I mean, we always talk about the festivals in
yeah, yeah.
Toronto. So anybody listening, we're always advocating. We Toronto
Mm-hmm.
tourism should like pay us a little bit because we
Right?
big up all the
Okay.
big things that
How
happen in
many
Toronto.
how many commercials you have over here? Shoot.
But
Like,
yeah,
honestly.
so even like if you think of 2025 and the influence of the US, we always say this. Like if you're not and like Americans, I don't know if you all know this, but or people from the UK, but like America's influence is everywhere. Just like
Yep.
it just is. Like people
Yep.
some people don't like that, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
Um and obviously us being their closest neighbor,
Right?
there's a lot of influence.
Very
So
much so.
anything that's going on in the US and that make if you're ever curious, like why are we always like talking about US or scared or like concerned about certain things? But anything that happens, what's the saying? They always say if the America catches a cold, Canada sneezes. I think
Exactly.
that's the saying. And so we're cousins. And
Right?
so actually I would say even like
I
step
think we're
brother and
half
sister,
brother and sister or
half brother
something.
and sister,
Shoot.
more closer than not even cousins, more closer than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that a lot of our views and how we think and
Hmm.
what we talk about, that's why you will hear a lot of what's going on. We'll talk about what's happening in the US, because it affects us here. And even some of the mentality, even with the whole Trump movement and MAGA movement, I'm seeing a lot of like of those remnants of
Hmm.
those attitudes coming here. Not to say they're not a problem, but I'm just feeling like the the very righteous conservatives who are being more comfortable being racist, being more comfortable being misogynistic and stuff. It's happening a little bit, but it's definitely happening.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that's why it's always important to us to address. a lot of the issues we see there, because I mean, we haven't really talked about it in depth, but Toronto
Right.
is changing a lot. Crime,
Yep.
the immigration situation, it is bad, but it's also getting a little bit xenophobic in like the criticism. As I think
Pretty
blame
much so.
blame
Yeah.
the infrastructure and the legislation. Don't blame the immigrants themselves. Um,
Right. And I will say, as being that we are from Canada, um I think Canada has always been the country that was slept on.
yeah.
I think it's a great country to be a citizen of. Um, with that said, I'm not trying to advertise here, people,
Hmm.
because I know things are rough in the States. I know things are rough over there with Trump and all of what he's doing and the MAGA behaviors, and things are getting hard for the people in the United States. So this is not an advertisement, even though you guys are flocking to Canada. Sure are. Toronto being one of those places. And um, I think that times are changing. Times are changing, and how people view Canada is going to change very quickly and vastly. Very quickly. I'm telling you. It is a great country, and I think that we're on the move of showing people what we can be made of. And the one thing that I can say out of all of this nonsense with Trump and these tariffs and all of this nonsense is that Canadians have started to become introverted, where we are starting to worry about home and see, let's all come together. And I think the unity here has actually been really beautiful. And I think we all have one common enemy. um, that's Donald Trump. We all have that common enemy. And I feel like it's bringing us together for some particular reason. Our country is getting closer and closer by the day. And um, I do believe though that the powers that be are still a lot of people that might have views like Trump,
Of
and they
course,
are
yeah.
still in, here. They're
They're
here.
here. Some of them are definitely here.
Polyev he's trying his best. Polyev is out here trying to do the do. But at the end of the day, our country is still being progressive. We're moving forward. And even though we have those people out here, they're not in power. They have their influence in other ways. Like, I'm not, gonna play like I don't know that, but in the same breath, the people that are in power are at least trying to move us forward progressively. At least they're trying. Um, I'm actually really excited to see where the country will be in the next 5 years. And I'll be honest with you, at one point, I didn't care. I'll be
Mm-mm.
honest with you, I didn't care because I think that our government became so complacent.
Yeah, it was the
You
Trudeau
know?
government. Yeah, I think that's the issue. It became too
Yeah.
complacent.
Very much so. But now things have changed and things are moving forward, and it's actually exciting to see where Canada will be in the next little while. I mean, Carney's out here making deals all left, right, and down center. Like he's bonifying things up around the country. He's like, yeah, no, me and you is friends. No, yeah. So you want to trade something? You know what I mean? Like, he's out here doing the do, and I appreciate that because Canada's just not going to get held down. We're not going to get held down. We're a progressive country, and that's that. You know, I don't think that those other powers that be are like Polyev and his whole. I don't think they're going to be in power for a very long time.
Yeah, probably because he lost so bad in an election. I don't think he's. I don't
Never.
see him
I don't. I
surviving
don't.
another round as a leader of the Conservatives.
Or even that. Even the conservatives. Period. Like, I don't see the
I don't know. I
conservatives
think
ever
I
being in
told you
power
there's
again.
with the movement that's going on in Canada right now. I can't say that confidently, to be honest.
Really?
No, no.
I don't know. The liberals
There's
are doing the thing, but anyhow, that's
Yeah, we're
politics up
getting too
here,
political. Getting too
up
political
here
here.
in
We
Canada.
just
But you
wanted
know
to
what?
get you
We're
to
doing the
learn.
damn thing. We're not sitting. What we're not doing is sitting around waiting for Trump to tell us how to be as a country.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh
we're not
no,
doing.
that's like a dead
Yeah,
end.
we're gonna hold on to our sovereignty. Thank you. Okay, so
So yeah, so just a little bit more about where we live,
yeah, yeah.
culturally. I think that's why I feel like we have a lot in common if anybody's curious with like the UK and London,
Oh,
because
sure do.
it's
The
another
influence is real.
it's
The influence is
another
real.
place that has a lot of diversity,
Yes.
um, with different cultures around the world that have had to learn about each other and live and work together,
Right.
and a very high influence of like African and West Indian
Mm-hmm.
culture in the Black communities, like,
Very much.
and the
Yes.
music and everything. So I just see a lot of similarities when I listen to, like, say, other like UK podcasts and stuff. As like,
Right.
I can relate a lot to them.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so we'll move on to,
And we have our own lingo up here, people. We do. I'm sorry, but it's
yeah,
true.
people hate it. It's not great.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, nobody has to love the accent, but
You
it's
know
our
what it is?
thing.
It's because we can switch up. We can switch up,
N-
and
I don't know the way the kids talk. Like, you have to remember. I don't know if you've heard like like the slangs. I mean, I can get it. I get why people roast the Toronto accent, but hey, it is what it is. We don't all talk like that, but some of us do say some
no,
of that.
but some words that are distinct to Toronto that everybody knows, like fam.
Yeah,
I feel like that's or wagwan. That's
yeah,
something that is distinctive to here.
yeah.
Cardinal, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much putting it out there for us.
Bacardi slang. Yeah.
Right? So I think we do have a distinct dialect here because I don't know, I feel like people could recognize that we're from Toronto. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Now you
know.
know what,
I've
and
been
that's
told we have an accent.
we do. Yeah.
We can switch it up between Caribbean, you know, the Caribbean dialect as well as, I guess the Canadian dialect, corporate world, and then there's the street dialects of the community, and I don't know. I think like sometimes we can switch it off and on in one conversation, and maybe it might be hard to follow. I don't know. I don't know.
So
Even that British a bit,
yeah, yeah,
So.
yeah. There's a lot of crossover slang, I
Mhm.
think, with that.
Mhm. Mhm. But
Um,
anywho,
yeah, we're
yeah.
moving on to the next section of our Ask Us Anything or Get to Know Us. Into like, what do we, so you know kind of who we are, you know how we met, you know where we're from. What do we care about?
Right?
Like, what are we passionate about? What keeps us going? What keeps us motivated? What keeps us
Keeps the people
energized?
going.
What keeps the people going? I love that clip in a Kanye
Me
song. I
too.
can.
Me
Oh no,
too.
was it Kanye and Jay Z? Right?
Yes, it
That's
was
the
Kanye
song.
and Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it is it Ham or niggas in Paris? Dun, dun, dun,
Niggas in
dun.
Paris.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. You know niggas in Paris.
Hmm.
Yeah, gets the people going.
Gets the people going. I love it.
So
I
I'll
love
start.
it. I love it.
I'm so mad I can't wear my side note. I'm so mad I can't wear my Yeezys. I have two pairs of nice
Oh
ass Yeezys,
Lord.
and I can't wear those shits to
Mm-mm.
work. The only time now that
You
we're
sure
trying to talk,
can't. That's
I
gonna be a question and a half.
I can't wear that to work.
So,
You crazy? Are you
so
crazy?
you get that. So, do you think that Kanye? Like, it's like, no.
No,
I just
I'm
want to
like,
wear the damn Yeezys.
I just have the Yeezys, man. So I only wear them when I travel.
Right?
Anyway,
Yeah,
back
that's the best thing to do because you're on the move. No one
yeah.
can tell
So
you stop.
yeah, they don't know me. They don't know me.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Back on track. So what are we passionate about? So I'll start.
Hmm.
Um, I think some of the things that I'm really passionate about, and if you're a long time listener, you might
Hmm.
already know, is obviously music.
Hmm.
I'm really a music nerd.
Me too.
I love the talking the business of music, what's
Hmm.
really going on behind the scenes, what's really the reason that they're doing this, because
Right?
I was a communications major,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
always, so I ever since, and Marshall McLuhan, also a Torontonian, the father of communication studies, he always talked about the medium is the message, that is the core
Right?
of communication studies. And but anyway, thinking about modern media studies is being critical of what you see.
Right?
Every message, which is the message, is whatever, it's a piece of text, a movie, a song, a
Hmm.
PR, an article, there's
That's right.
always some type of motivation, and knowing what that is or understanding what it could be.
Right?
And so that's why, like these conversations, yes, might be seem fluffy to other people, but there's a
Mhm.
lot going on there. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
particularly with the music industry, that's
Yep.
kind of where I always like to understand, because it's like music is so amazing, it brings so much good things to our lives, but like if you think about all the stories we hear about the artists,
Right?
how they their downfalls, or how they,
Mhm.
or their stumbles, maybe they get back
Yep.
up, but all of that is super interesting. So anyway,
Yep.
passionate about music, music culture, and the music business. I love art, all art in general.
Yep. Mhm.
I appreciate it for what it is. I think it's important to society, um even if people can't see the concrete value of it. And obviously, family and
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
and keeping and community values, those are things
Mhm.
that something I don't talk about as much is
Mhm.
spirituality. Like, I have a deep
Mhm.
relationship, I'm a Christian, I have a deep
Mhm.
relationship with my father, Jehovah
Mhm.
God.
Mhm.
And so if there's any doubt about that, that is definitely a rock of what I care about,
Mhm.
is what's important to me. So what keeps me
Yeah.
going, motivated, and energizers. Like
Yep.
me, I'm a simple person. I think as long as I'm good, my family's good, and I have something to look forward to,
Right?
um, I'm blessed.
Right?
And energized, I actually energized, I'm energized by anybody who's passionate about something. You
Right?
want to
Me
talk
too.
about this, want to talk about that, and curiosity, being
Yes.
curious. I think that's another reason why we're good friends. You're a
Yes.
very curious person. You're always going to be
Yes.
like, why do they do that? What's this? What's
Yeah.
happening here? And probably
Yeah.
give a
Very
story.
much so.
And
Yep.
the curiosity is always a way to keep
Mhm.
your interest in life outside of the day to day. Yes, we have the day to
Mhm.
day, but something, if I wanted to say to the people that listen to us, is like, don't get stuck in the day to day, people.
Nope.
Please don't find moments to find,
Something.
get- to
Do
get in
something.
touch and be grateful for
Yep.
this life that we have.
Yep.
Like, sometimes you could
Because it's
just think about the next.
abundance.
Yeah,
It's
and I when
abundance.
I do
Yeah.
my yoga Pilates class, we always do a 10-minute meditation after. And
Mhm.
I love that the mandate of the meditation is to just, I haven't mastered meditation, but
Mhm.
the goal is always to try and be loose, get into that
Mhm.
nothingness. Don't be thinking, don't think.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let your
No.
body
You
just
think too much.
do, just be, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
to force yourself, it is a skill to learn, but
Yes, and
if you
it's hard.
practice it, you can get better.
Yeah.
But
You can.
something that
Mhm.
I'm always battling is, don't think about what's happening after this class. Don't think about your task or
Yep.
your chores or whatever, right? So that's a
Girl.
way. I'm using meditation as one example. It could be travel, it could be walks, it could be music, it could be
Mhm.
prayer, it could
Mhm.
be so many
Mhm.
things. But
Mhm.
don't
Mhm.
get stuck in the tasks of life, of, all these things. Even if you have
Yes.
to find a moment to give
Yes.
yourself a breather from that.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
my, let me get off of my soapbox.
No,
What are you
girl, we dip on the
what,
soapbox together. You all warm
what
me
did
up
you
a
want
little
to
bit.
share?
No, well, okay. So, there are things in my life that I would say I'm very passionate about, and
Hmm.
there are things that I'm growing in passion
Mm,
for, right?
mm.
And so I've always been a family
Yes,
oriented type of
always,
person. Like
always.
I've always like my family. I would say that some of them are my friends,
Of course.
so family is very important, and I've always been passionate about my family. And I would say in my late 20s, I started to grow in God and walk closer with Him, and so I am now more passionate about that as well. But I have, oh, you were right, you hit it on the head, because I exploration is
Mm,
something I'm passionate about, and I'm gonna say it just like that because I like to explore all facets of life,
mhm,
right? So whether it's traveling, whether it's learning something, I feel like my mind is always trying to gather as much information as possible. And I
mhm,
feel like I thrive, and I feel like that's something that is always like I need to know. I don't know why, but that's just who I am. I know that I need to know why. I need to know more. I question things. I'm very analytical at times, sometimes over analytical about things. But I like to know that there is abundance in this world of knowledge. And I know not even a full percent of it. That to me gets me going. to learn different cultures, to be around different cuisine. When you said earlier multicultural, today I made Filipino food for dinner.
What'd you
Sure
make?
did. Lumpia and all, girl. Put my
Lumpia
lumpia. Don't play with me. But I'm saying,
from
learning
scratch?
from scratch, sure did. No, didn't buy that.
Of
Wrapped
course
it
you
and
would.
everything. Okay. Yep. Shredded the carrot and everything. Yep. Sure did. Fried it up and everything. Had my poor husband standing at the watching them and turning them for me, but he did a good job. But he helped
Nice.
me. But I'm saying multicultural, so I'm always exploring life. Um, I like learning different things. I like knowing different things. I like uh, gaining whatever sort of skill, whatever something I can put in the back of my head and pull that out on a day that I might need to pull it out, like
Hmm.
learning something that you never knew before, so I've always been a curious person, and so I think that's a passion of mine, is staying curious, because you don't know everything. And there's some people who don't get a chance to know more than outside of their town.
Sometimes it's not even a chance. They don't even have that scope. Nobody gave
That
it to them.
that too.
Hmm.
I think that too. And I think it is a scope, because I think you definitely have to have that in you.
Hmm.
You
No, I
definitely
mean,
have
or
to have that
surround,
in
yeah,
you.
like, or somebody has to provide that to you
Yeah,
to get
or
you out of
the
that
the
bubble.
constant seek of knowledge in some sort of way. When you do get to visit somewhere, you're more knowledgeable about it than when you don't visit that place, or when you don't open that book, or when you don't ask a question. And so I am a very curious person. I think that's because I'm constantly trying to explore life. But in terms of family, like, I've said before on the show that I'm a mother, and I, have one child. And walking through the process of being a mother and my child as she ages and she changes, and it's really fascinating, and it kind of lets me see what life, like how life is, and
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
you grow up and you grow into yourself, and looking at it from not the perspective of, oh, I'm doing it, but somebody else is that's very close to me, that I'm very close to, is walking through it. And motherhood is, I think it's cool. It has its moments, you know um yeah, it has its moments, but you know what?
Yeah.
It also has some really great moments too, where,
What can't be a better teaching moment than being a mother? I don't think it
right?
gets any
Oh,
bigger than that.
girl, you get to see yourself in that child. Let me tell you, they humble you real quick. They humble you real quick, because they show you a mirror of who you are,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's kind of fascinating to see her grow up and stuff like that in terms of motherhood. And now, I'm a wife, and so that is also something that I am passionate about, because it's my family, and I've never been married, and so marriage is a new adventure.
Yes, a
um
big adventure. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Anywho, what keeps me motivated and energized? Well,
No, you
God,
said,
first
of
and
course,
foremost.
God, family. You said
God,
family.
definitely him keep, because I have to just call out sometime. Especially when people are pulling stunts at my damn job. I have to call out. I have to
Stunt
full circle
queens.
that. Full circle that one, okay? Because yeah, no, but for real. But honestly, I think my family does, but I think motherhood does the most, because
Hmm.
there's something, when I had my child, I was already older. I was
Hmm.
like 31.
Hmm.
So I already did the parties, I already did the clubs, I already did the barbecues, the
Hmm.
basement party, did them all, and I even passed the point where all the people were around me, were having kids, and I finally had one,
Hmm.
and it all made more sense in my brain. Like,
Hmm.
life literally made more sense in my brain, because and I'll talk about this briefly. I know I'm ranting, but just hear me out.
Good.
So there was a point in time where, I had this nice souped up vehicle. It was nice. You understand?
Mhm.
And every so often, when I'm at a light or like in traffic, I look in the rearview mirror behind me
Yeah.
in the back seat. And I always think, maybe one day there'll be a kid there, you know?
Okay.
And after some time, I did it so often, right? That it
Mm.
started to wear on my heart. It was like, you want to be a mom. Like, I want to be a
Yeah,
mom.
that was
You
the
know what I mean?
message.
And whatever else came with that, came with that. But I wanted to see a little somebody in the
Yes.
back seat of that car.
Yes, it was
And it
something you
wasn't
wanted.
until my daughter was like two, 2 or 3,
Mhm.
where I looked in the rearview mirror at a light and I saw, and she was there, eating her little snacks and whatever, causing a mess in my damn car. And I looked back there and I was like, yep, God is good.
Yes.
God is good, because I remember distinctly. And I used to do it more and more and more often. And it just shows how when the heart wants what the heart wants, like my
Yes.
heart wanted to be a mother. And so,
Yes.
honestly, it does keep me generous. Like, I just want my child to be a well balanced child. I
Mhm.
don't need her to be this or that or the third. She's going to be who she is.
Mhm.
But I want her to be well balanced, because you need to appeal in life at, like you said earlier, I'll talk to anybody,
Yeah.
literally,
Mhm.
because I don't feel like I'm better or worse than anybody, or they're
Mhm.
better or worse than me. And so I think that's because of the life that my parents provided for me was well rounded, and I got
Yeah.
to see different aspects of life and understand that you're no better than anybody else on here, on this planet. And so I try and I hope that I can instill that in her and put some goodness in her. And not only that, but when I do have a child, you want more for them than you had for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like any true parent, I'm not talking about these claffies out here who call
Yeah,
themselves parents.
right?
I'm talking
Mhm.
about real parents. You want to continue that generational, not even wealth, that generational um, movement forward, right? Your parents did it. They didn't listen. My parents are from the West Indies. Why would they want to come to this cold ass country? For which pot? Okay, they came here for opportunity, and they were able to provide that to me and my sister. So now I have to, I feel like wherever they didn't meet or whatever I didn't have, I need to now give that to her, into
Mhm.
the next generation, right? And so um she's my legacy,
Yeah.
period. And so that's what I'm very motivated and energized with. You hear
Yes.
me?
As
But
yeah,
anyhow,
it's a big one.
let's
All
move
right.
on into the last couple questions.
We're into
Yes,
the
so
last one. So we are a podcast. We talk about so many different topics, and you got to know us, what motivates us, and everything in between. We just wanted to get into back into kind of like what we like to talk about and
right?
I feel like there are some themes like uh
Mm-hmm.
in what we like, what we don't like, and stuff like that. If you're an avid listener, you might know and guess. But we just said we'd end off on like some of our favorite artists, whether they're comedians, actors, musicians. We said we would share like three to five
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
artists that we rate,
Right?
that we love. And I honestly, I wish I thought ahead of the time about this. I'm just I'm
I
looking
could
at
go
this.
first. That's cool.
Yes, yes,
Because
go
I
ahead, go
did.
ahead.
I had to think. I even had to ask my husband. I was like, so tell me. We had to have a little discussion. But okay, so in terms of the top three music artists, now uh, this was difficult, but I feel like it encompasses a lot of what I've loved in music. And one is Buju Banton.
Buju Banton.
Okay,
Yes,
he's
you've said that
culturally,
before. That is
yeah,
consistent. You have said that before.
yeah,
Yes.
like definitely. Buju Banton has always been an artist that I've loved. I had this man's cassette tape. I had it in my boom blaster, my boom box in my room. I play it regularly. Okay. And this is like real young Buju Banton. And I always liked him because he was saying something.
Mhm.
If you want to know what I like in music, you got to say something. You got to tell me. You got to either teach me something, speak of something, okay, or speak of your life. Tell me something. I need substance. If I don't have substance, I don't really, and that's why I didn't really take to Nicki Minaj when she first came out, because I was like, I'm not up for the theatrics. I need you to say
Mhm.
something to me.
Mhm.
So Buju Banton was definitely one, because I think in all of his songs he had a message, right? And it wasn't always clear. You'd have to listen and read between the line. And so I loved his creativity. And even when he got locked up, like, I was really sad. Like, I was so sad when Butcher Banton got locked up. Like, you
Yeah.
don't even understand. It was ridiculous. But I was young then. But another is Tupac. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not up for the whole discussion about Tupac and Biggie, because
No.
my husband is a Biggie somebody, okay? And I
Oh,
love me
okay.
some Biggie. Like, don't get it twisted. He's the East. He's the East, New York, okay? Which is closer to Toronto
Mhm.
than Cali, okay?
Yes.
However, Tupac for me was an activist within his music, and he was very poetic. And yes, after a while, he started to get a little bit more like try to gangster rap and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But if you listen to the beginning of Tupac, he was very, very poetic. Okay. And a lot of what he said didn't just speak to the time that they were in, but it spoke to a time in history where our Black people, our community, was just not being treated fairly. And we were damn near tired. We're damn near tired of it, and he just spoke truth. And I loved, I to this day, I still, have to listen to and on top of that, he was a little cutie. He was a little cutie
Yeah, he's more
patootie, okay?
attractive. That's why I think. I mean, music wise, they're both solid, but that's another reason I think Tupac edges out Biggie. Hate to say it, but.
Sorry, Biggie. And you're Jamaican and everything. I'm sorry, bro. But he did the damn thing. Like, but if
Mhm.
I had to put them in a ranking, it would be Tupac and then Biggie, because Biggie did talk a lot. He talked a lot about you know drugs and sex and the wildlife, the rock and roll wildlife of the
Mhm.
music industry and all of that, and that was great. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Biggie. Juicy, yeah, I love me some Biggie, but Tupac, he had something to say. And he, at one point, was not afraid at all. He was willing to get shot over it and didn't care. And kept going forward. And lastly, I always say this, you can verify this, Jeanette, that if Aaliyah was in the game, I'm telling you, people, okay? So my last one is Aaliyah.
Mm.
I have a fondness for Aaliyah. I think that if she were still alive, Beyonce wouldn't be where she is. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm going to put it out there, because I think in the very beginning of her reaching the height, as she's climbing the heights, her life was ended. And that talent, like, she was talented, and it just seemed naturally talented, and she was beautiful. And on top of that, she, at that time when she came out, she appealed to the tomboy in me,
Mhm.
where I didn't feel bad wearing the baggy jeans and Tims.
Mhm.
I don't know. She resonates with me in a different way than all of these other R&B singers that are out here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so Aaliyah is my final one, and I'll say it till the cows come home. If Aaliyah was alive, Beyonce, who? Oh, okay. Okay. So what are your three, girl? Please tell me.
Um. Yeah. Well, obviously, you guys. I told you I'm really passionate about music, so this is really hard for me. But I would say with music, I'm just gonna throw out some. They're not my top whatever, but they're just some that are very prominent, and I always focus on the game changers. And
Mm-hmm.
so, definitely for me, if we think about throwback, and legacy, I would say Lauren Hill.
Okay.
As much as we want to clown Lauren Hill, as much as like there's debate and anything else we want to talk about Lauren, if we think about the Fuji's first album, I didn't even get to
Mhm.
her album. They had two
Mhm.
albums. If we listen to Fuji's two albums, and I hate to say this, no, I don't hate to say this. For me, it's an emphatic truth for me personally. But she was a clear star.
From
It
the
was
jump.
it was like we knew she was going to be massive, whether
Yeah.
she was with this group or not. Lauren Hill was going to be somebody.
Mhm. Mhm.
um I think to the same things that you said, like it just she was an it girl. She had that special something
Yeah.
that a lot of people could see right away. So her verses on the Fuji albums, I can't remember what they're called, the Refugee Soldier, I can't remember the name of the album, so I won't lie, but Buffalo Soldier, all those classic singles that they
Mhm.
had, she shone on all of them. And it's so crazy that, anyway, her story is crazy, but because I do think men got into her head a lot, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where
She was
we,
young.
yes, unfortunately, and that happens to a lot of stars, right?
Mhm.
So, but anyway, Lauren Hill, not gonna get too much into it, and obviously her impact on the Fugees, but then of course,
She made the
her
Fugees. Let's just put it out there.
yeah, right, but okay, I'll respect Wyclef because he's a producer and he
Eh.
was like the business. He was kind of
Eh.
like the orchestrator. If I'll give him some of that, but he was just
Okay.
lucky. Let's just say
Behind the scenes.
without
Okay.
without with all the talent that Wyclef had, that group would not be anywhere if they did not have Lauren Hill.
No.
Let me say this. I wouldn't say they wouldn't be anywhere. They wouldn't have the massive success that they got without Lauren
Okay.
Hill. Okay, and then
Alright.
of course the miseducation of Lauren Hill. The
Mhm.
one people want to say the one album, she's basically been living 30 years. Is it 30
Right?
years? Maybe
Off
25
of the one
years.
album, and I think Cardi's gonna follow behind her. But yeah, mhm.
Okay, and so that's her. Then second, again, I'm going to focus on game changers. So Beyonce's in there for me. I think she has changed the game many and many times, reinvented herself. Not only in the music she's producing
Mhm.
has she gotten better. Where she's special and she is that she gets better and better and better, and she's really only challenging herself. And I admire that at 40 plus, she still can do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
She's not phoning it in, even though she could if she wanted.
Right.
So enough respect to her. And then finally, um, I will say, I want to do a male artist now. That who's a male artist that I've been consistently following and respecting. It's hard, The,
I
with the
know.
Me Too movement, it's shoot, it's hard as hell. Um, I'm gonna share this. This might be controversial, but I will share this with Drake and what's his face and Kendrick. No disrespect. So, right, interesting take,
Oh,
right? Like,
oh,
just to make it
because them on the same platform, the same level that
just
girl.
this to spice things up, and I'll
You didn't
give
have to throw
honorable,
the
of
whole
course.
scotch bonnet, like
No,
Jesus.
so I'll actually also mention the weekend. He's doing a big tour. He's sold out the Rogers Stadium. We need to talk about that on our next show. But the weekend is an honorable mention for me as well. He's another one. But so why I'm saying Drake and um Kendrick Lamar, who I love.
Mm-mm.
To me, if you really think, for me in my world, is like they're two sides of the same coin.
Mhm.
They're two people who have worked their put a lot of energy and passion, like it's a serious thing, into their music. Even though I think they're motivated by different things,
Right.
I do think there is still the same energy in their work, because you don't get to be Drake without being meticulous, without challenging, without being creative, without being innovative, without bringing other people to kind of like create this monster of what Drake's brand and everything that is
Mhm.
Drake, right?
Mhm.
And with Kendrick Lamar, I think he is like Beyonce in the artistry. I think he's motivated in artistry and truth. Of course, he wants to be successful, but I think he already understands and being genuine, being true, success will find him because he's so talented.
Right.
He's relied a lot on his natural gifts
Mhm. Mhm.
to bring him to where he is. But I still think that hunger, I still think that desire to show that you have something to say or you have something to offer the world is in um both of them.
Right.
And I think they've both um they just go at it different ways. I think with Kendrick, he's like he's like he'll have a mission, he'll have a message, he'll have a
Right.
craft, he'll have an
Mhm.
idea, and he's going to be meticulous and take time to make
Right.
sure everything is perfect. It's going to be clear what he's trying to
Mhm.
say from visual to lyric to interview to fashion to style, everything. It's going to be
Right.
clear. And
Right.
that takes time.
Yeah, I
And then we
agree.
have Drake who's like you got to hit him, you have to hit him, you have to give the people what they want when they
Right.
want it. And so that's why Drake is gonna slap you every summer with something. He's gonna give you a summer something, okay? And you will be bopping.
Right.
And he's been, and even though people are like, oh, like Drake's been dominating the airways because you wanted him to. If he
Well,
didn't, y'all be complaining. So I do think there's something in both of them. Again, I said two sides of the same coin,
right.
different approaches, but I think the goal is the same. They want people to know, listen, I'm here, I'm him, I'm doing the damn thing,
Right?
um, and this is how I'm doing it, whether you like it or not. And both of their talents can't be denied. And I hate, although what happened last year probably I think needed to happen. I'm not just being a peace. I'm not being a peacekeeper. I think maybe it needed to happen. I think everybody learned about everything. This will basically make both of them better artists.
Yeah, I just think that Drake was starting to lose focus on who he really was. And I think that Kendrick has always stayed true to himself, and
Yes,
he's never not been true to himself.
exactly.
And Drake started to fall off on being true to himself for
Mhm,
money.
mhm,
I think that's where he kind of went wrong because
mhm.
when we look at Drake's career, it wasn't until the last two albums that he kind of fell off. And it was because he was chasing a bag. And
Yeah,
yeah, he might have had one or two hits on that album.
he's always gonna have a single
I
or two.
mean,
Yeah.
you know, that he's always going to make sure he has at least one or two, bangers that you are
Mhm,
going to listen to all summer,
mhm.
that's very catchy, that's very, of the time, because that was something that he was good at doing is, staying current. However, I think that he started to lose who he was and his authenticity. And I think two sides of the okay, well, hey, that's your top three, girl. Because I don't know, two sides of the same coin.
Hey,
Maybe at one point, maybe two albums ago. Yeah,
yes,
okay,
exactly. Maybe 2 albums ago, but I'm thinking more. I'm not looking at like now. I'm just more saying
that's
if
true. That's
I'm
true.
looking
Over
at
the
the
and the
artists
whole
over the
career you're
years, over
looking
the
at,
whole
right?
career, like very, very
That's true.
much game changers,
That's no,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they were in the same class
True.
of hip hop artists at that time. Um, yeah, so that is my musical artist. I think that's all we have time for, to be honest. We're probably gonna like probably try and incorporate this another every once in a while. We'll do a ask us anything, and we'll probably more incorporate like some of these pop culture things, whether it's movies, artists, TV shows, public
I
figures.
want to tell you who my three comics are.
Oh, you have it. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
because I thought about it, girl. I
Girl,
thought,
she thought about.
yeah,
Okay,
I
let's
thought
go.
about it,
Yes,
girl, and I wrote it down.
it's
You know
hard.
how
Okay,
I'm
go.
old
Yeah.
school and stuff.
Yeah.
Anywho, so first was Eddie Murphy
Okay.
because Delirious is the best
Classic.
stand-up comedy I've ever seen in my life. It literally will have you
It's
like
crazy that it was done in the
urinating your
80s.
pants. Like,
Isn't it crazy that it was
okay,
done in the 80s and you could watch it now and still
oh,
die?
still to this day, and the thing is, I've seen it multiple times.
Mhm.
I've seen it multiple times, and every single time. So Eddie Murphy, tied for second for me is Martin Lawrence and Cat Williams.
Okay,
Cat
okay.
Williams is funny. He is really funny. And he's a truth teller out here. But I think like Martin, like the fact that he had so many characters and he was funny at
Yes,
all
and
of
he had
them.
the show. The show gives him the edge.
What?
Like,
The show gave him the edge, yes, because he had all these characters
well,
and they
it's
were
funny you
all
say that.
funny.
They actually have that's what they actually have in common is that they're very good at physical comedy.
Very good.
Very good at
That's why
physical
they're tied
comedy.
for second.
Okay.
And so third for me is Bernie Mac.
Mm.
Sorry, Miss Bernie Mac has passed away, but
Mm.
these young folk don't know about no Bernie Mac, okay? Because Bernie Mac
Mm.
was capable of, he was just so real and raw talent, like raw type of funny. And yes, he too had a show,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't last for many seasons. That's what I remember, but it was funny, even on like now it's on television like a sitcom type of,
Yeah.
it was still funny, right? And
Mhm.
so Bernie Mac, I think he was hilarious, and he's another talent that if he were around, I think they'd have some serious competition out here. And I
Mhm.
think, maybe he'd be able to verify Cat Williams on Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer. Maybe they'd be
Mm.
able to verify Bernie Mac. I don't know, but he was
Mhm.
funny. Go check him out. If you don't know, go check him out. It's out there. But yeah, so I don't know if you have your
Yeah, I
top
can.
three.
Yeah, yeah. Since you were talking, I could put some together. I'm going to focus on ones that are still performing,
Hmm.
and so I would say number one for me is Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
Just because he's like a masterful storyteller. I mean, he has done like the punchline jokes before and he's good at that, but I think we're the level that he's at now. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of his last special. But I mean, the run that he had in the past few
Hmm.
years, Juicy, that was a classic. Whatever, I don't even know the name of that special, but the one where he talked about Juicy
Juicy.
Smollett, Juicy Smollett,
Yeah.
that was a
Juicy.
classic. And it's been interesting how he has become, I think he has a lot of relation to Tupac like that. Like you said,
Hmm. Yeah.
you're going at surface level, it's a hip hop song or he's telling a joke or it's a comedy special, but there is a through line
Yeah. You just need to
in,
think about it.
yeah,
Just think
there's a
about
through
it.
line to think
Hmm.
about it. And it honestly, it always has to do with the rise or with the elevation of black people.
Yes.
Um and that's a common theme if you pay attention to what he's really commenting on in his jokes. Anyway, next is number two, living, who's very closely associated with Dave Chappelle, which is
Yeah.
Rawlings. His
Okay.
spe- his special, he it's easy to forget he is in Dave Chappelle's shadow, and he's been working really hard in the last
Yep.
few years to come out of it. But I saw his special. I've seen his comedy stuff on bar, like on YouTube and stuff. But he had a Netflix special last year, and I was rolling.
Ah.
I like if I'm laughing out loud, like his comedy
Uh,
stand up, you're always gonna do a little chuckle, a little bit. If I laugh
true.
out loud, he had a couple of jokes in there where I literally laughed out loud. Like I was like, damn.
Mm-mm.
So Donnell Rollins, he's again. I'm focused on active. There are a lot of legacy. You mentioned the legacy. We all know the legacies: the Eddie
Yeah.
Murphys, the Richard Pryors. We I acknowledge
Mhm.
them, and they are
They're the goats. Yeah.
they're the goats. But I'm just talking about active, just to counteract. I'm talking about active right now.
Yeah.
And finally, what's another stand up? I don't want to say a white person, to be honest, even though they're good, but I kind of want to uplift some maybe lesser known.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll say one. She's obscure. People don't know her, and I'm going to tie her. I'm going to tie her with her friend. So her name is Yamanika Sanders. She's a New York comedian. I follow her, but she is literally hilarious. Like she is so
Mm-mm.
funny. Like
I have to
she
check her
has me
out.
rolling. She's very smart, very I mean, she uses a kind of black American character thing, but it's like she's actually saying so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll say Zainab Johnson, which is her friend, who's a Muslim, black American Muslim, um, based out of New York, moved to Cali. So she's another female comedian that's active right now that anywhere I can watch clips or watch comedy or comedy, I'm gonna do it. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
that's right now what I appreciate.
right. The list can change, people, but you
It can
know,
change. Well, I just throwing stuff at you. People, really, the list is probably 10 people long. The real list, it has to be 10.
right? It
If it
was
were gonna
hard.
be,
That's why I had to write it down because I
yeah,
was like,
writing it
I
down.
don't even
Me,
know.
and honestly, I just threw some artists, but like I would say out of the artists, I said like Lauren, Lauren and Dave are true tops for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This has been an awesome show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a change up where we get to show who you or tell you guys who we are, and
Yeah.
we're always talking about everybody else, so
Exactly.
we might as well chat about ourselves just a little bit. And if there are any other questions or comments that you guys have
Yeah.
for us
Send
and
it
you
to.
want to ask us, please send them to us. We will actually read them
Mm-hmm.
and answer them in our call out, and so holla in the comments. Please leave a question if you guys are curious about us. We will put it in our call out and have to answer whatever it is that you asked, and so hopefully you can learn even more about us. But we are glad that everybody who does listen is listening, and we hope that more will listen. And please do um, stay tuned, I'm telling you. And
Yeah.
so we hope that your hearts and minds were activated on this week's show. So whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful. Talk to y'all real soon. Bye.
Bye.